Okay, Bismillah, let's get started. We're gonna complete, guys, what we started in the fourth period. We studied Ya Khalid and all. We started from here. The Limasson's curves or snails, and we said that we have the shape of the standard equation of this polar equation. Limasson's equations are equals a plus minus b sine theta, or r equals a plus or minus b cosine theta. And I would like you, Khalid, to take a screenshot of these rules. We
Okay,
should find
Mr.
first the ratio of a and b. A over b, if it's less than 1, so we have inner loop. If a over b equals 1, so we have cardioid. If we have a over b greater than 1 or less than 2, it's dimpled, and its shape is down here. If a over b greater than or equal to, so it's convex. Convex. And here's a simple graph or an example of the graph.
Mr. A question, please. The cardioid and dimple, the difference that the cardioid touches the origin, but the dimple does not.
Yes, like this. Maybe also the dimple touch the origin, but the shape is not sharp point in the middle. It's like a curve in the middle, and also convex is a circle,
Smoother.
but something like it's you hit a circle from right or left or up or down, and you got a not identical circle. One side of the circle is not perfect. It's called the convex. Okay. We studied this example 1 minus 2 sine theta, and we said that the steps here, this is the steps. Y equals, you have to know in its sign, you are working on the y axis, main axis. Down below the x axis, since it's a negative here between the two terms, the ratio between a and b is half, which is less than 1. So it's the first inner loop, and the sum of them gives the height or stretches on the main axis. So I'm gonna move 1 plus 2, which is 3. From center 0, 0, or origin or pole, I'm gonna move 1, 2, 3 down here. And then A gives it a stretch on the opposite axis. We have to stretch it at 1 unit here, and 1 unit right, and 1 unit left. A minus B gives at the A, loop is inside the circle, lower point. The lower point is here. The lower point is -1, since 1 minus 2 is -1. So -1 gives at the A loop inside the circle, okay? And then connect the points, gives here this shape, and this shape, which is Lemisson's inner loop. 3 plus 4
Mr.
cosine theta. Yes?
Question.
Yes.
Sorry, but my question, we can use mode 7 on the calculator with radian.
Yes, but it's gonna take a long time here to start your pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, and so on, and then plot the points. Gonna give you the same shape, but this one is informal graph. Gonna give you the graph quickly and simply by adding a and b and a minus b and a, and dividing to know the shape is inner loop or not.
Okay.
Second question, also it's inner loop. A over b is 3 over 4, 0.5, and we grabbed basic minna cosine. The graph opens
On the
right
X.
on the positive part of the x-axis. The length, how the graph is stretched on the x-axis, can 7, which is the sum of 3 and 4. So we moved from the pole 0, 0, machina 7 circles to the right, and how the graph is stretched on the opposite axis, which is y-axis, or pi over 2. Machina 3 units has a value of a, and down 3 units. And the loop is inside this shape by how many? By the difference of 3 minus 4, which is -1. And always it's an inner loop, يعني اللفة inside. Okay? And then we studied here the lemniscate curves when the equation is r squared equals a squared sine 2 theta, or r squared equals a squared cosine 2 theta. And here's the table and the rule we have to use. Symmetric about the pole, and r squared equals a squared cosine 2 theta. It's symmetric in all pole and polar axis, and pi over 2. And here is an example of the diagram of sine and cosine lemniscate curves. Okay. For example, r squared equals 9 sine to theta. The a is 3, the root of 9. Main axis is y-axis. Since it's a sine, it's positive, so it's in this way. If it's a negative, will be in the second and the fourth quadrant. Main axis, y-axis, symmetric about the pole, as we said here. When it's a sine to theta, or a squared sine to theta, it's symmetric on the pole, يعني center 0 0. And we have to move from the pole 0 0. بنمشي مقدار ال A 3 يعني على third circle and connect like infinity. Connect like what? Like infinity. Okay, let's classify the equation first. And then graph it. Let me first start by writing the question. Graph or classify the equation and then graph. The equation is r equals 5 minus 5 cosine, cosine what? Yes, cosine theta.
Theta.
Should be theta only, okay? The lemniscate is 2 theta. The rows may be 3 theta, 4 theta, 9 theta, any value here. And it's only with no plus or minus. Okay, so when we have this equation and the question asking you first to classify the equation of this polar equation, يعني as lemison or lemniscate or rows or line or circle, okay? You have to know it from the shape of the equation. انت معاك 5 minus 5 cosine theta, which take the shape of r equals a minus b cosine theta. So so first step, so we will write here that it's what? Lemison. Yeah, lemison, and this one it's S. Lemison, and it's what? أي نوع في الليميسون dimpled or cardioid or inner loop or convex.
A over B
مين اللي
equal
بيحدد
1
يا شباب إن A over B equals 5 over 5, which is
1. So
I think dimpled.
Dimpled?
don't
No.
remember.
Let's move back to the table. When A over B 1
One cardioid.
or cardioid. وطبعا you have to discard the signs. سيبك من الساينز. يعني A over B is 1. And when it's 1, so it's what? Lemison, and it's what? Cardioid. How to graph the cardioid? It's so easy also. As we graphed the other types of Lemison equation curves, we can graph this equation. R equals 5 cosine theta. Cosine طبعا يعني our main axis is what? Our main axis is
X
y
axis.
or x axis. يعني هنشتغل على ال x axis, positive or negative?
Negative 1.
يعني to the right of the x, the y axis. يعني على ال positive part of the x axis or the negative part of the x axis. We are on the
negative.
x axis, but I'm gonna walk on the left side because it's a negative 4. It's a negative here, guys. So I'm gonna walk on the
left side
or the negative part of the x axis. What should we do else here? We have to find the a plus b.
And so 5 plus 5.
5 plus 5 equals 10. MashaAllah. And
a equal
minus
5
equals 0.
0, and a alone is 5.
Yeah, and a alone is 5. Muhammad Sabai, tell us what does it mean by a plus b? بنستفيد بها ايه؟ ان 10 هنا represents what? Move back to the table. And I said for you that a plus b, the height, or
a plus b is the height.
The distance inside the what?
The main axis.
Inside any one of them, right? So it's stretched on the main axis. Okay, 1 minute, please, guys.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so here we have to find a plus b. So what is a plus b? The height or stretched on the main axis. So in our question here, we are here, right? No. Yes. we have to move 10 units to the left of the pole. So would like to draw it here. I'll bring here we have only 5 circles. We have to draw 10 circles. We need 10 circles here. So if we move like this, and we have to draw 10 circles, so we are in 10 here. Why 10? Because a plus b is 10, and then a minus b 0. A minus b 0. Where is the shape of this cardioid? Like this, guys, okay? Okay, type it's 0. So I will put a point here at 0, and the a is 5. A is 5 means that we're gonna move in the opposite axis.
In the
units.
y-axis, it's
على
5 and
y-axis,
negative 5.
And the pi over 2. I'm gonna move, guys, up 0 degrees or 0 radians. So I have to move up 5. يعني مثلا على first circle, second circle, third circle, fourth, fifth circle, and also move down to the fifth circle. Here's 1, 2, 3. Here is 4, and here is what? And here is 5. And then connect to the points. ما في loop بقى، مش هيحصل loop أصلا. And at 10, we take a point here like this, and then connect counterclockwise. يعني تقريبا يعني تمشي على السيركل. Okay, and here like this. This is the cardioid, and you can check your answer, guys. طبعا لازم تبقى الشبه الثانية بالظبط. Yes, this is informal what? Informal graph, like the apple, okay, or heart. To know, guys, that I love you, okay? So here's the cardioid. It's what? It's like this, guys. Always take this shape. Yes, we can open the Desmos graphing calculator and graph this equation. R equals 5 minus 5 cosine theta. So let me to give me, guys, only. You see my screen? It is R equals.
Yes, Mr.
Yes, R equals 5. Write the equation here. Minus 5 again. Cosine the angle. Where is theta back? I think we have here tools. Here is it. Where is theta? Any angle. Here is it, right? This is 6. Cosine the angle theta. Wow. Here is it, theta. And then press what? Graph. And press what? Graph. As you see here, here is my apple, guys. Here is my heart on the screen. To know that my heart is for you only. Okay, we can minimize and maximize here our graph. Yes, here is my graph. Okay, it's called what, guys? What's the shape? يعني لو قالك كده classify the graph. Cardioid. From where you know? It's like an apple here. بس أصلها هنا إيه؟ تمام؟
تمام.
Let's move on to our lesson. ناقصنا مين؟ Dimpled?
Yes, dimpled.
Yes. The dimpled shape. Let's move to a new slide and write here the equation. Graph R equals the dimpled one. A is greater than or A and B between 1 and 2.
A and B between 1 and 2.
A and B between 1 and 2. So I'm gonna move back to my table here الخاص بالليميسونز snails يعني في الدمبلد يعني ال A over B, the ratio of A and B is between 1 and 2. The ratio is between what? 1 and 2 dimpled. يعني هتكون شبه اللي قبلها بس ايه ما فيهاش يعني sharp point inside. Yes, R equals, let's pick, guys, like 1 point something. So it's 4 over 5. We can write it 4 plus 3 cosine theta. To find طبعا the main axis. What's the main axis? It's the main axis, guys.
X-axis.
X-axis, because it's a sine. It's قصدي cosine. So we're in the main axis. So positive or negative part of the x-axis. يعني اشتغل على البوزيتيف.
لا Mr. Y-axis. Positive part of the Y-axis.
No, X-axis, cosine.
Because it's a cosine, so we have to work on the x-axis, okay? And because here this sign is positive, so we're gonna move to the right of the y-axis يعني على الجزء اللي هو positive of the x-axis.
Yes.
Okay, the positive part يعني تكون على اليمين يعني من ال y-axis تكون هنا. Okay, but it's not a circle يعني it's like this معوقة شوية من الايه من اليسار. Okay, and then yes, the ratio of A over B equals 4 ال A اللي هي في الأول اللي هي 4 وال B اللي هو هذا coefficient of cosine يعني 4 over 3. 4 over 3 1 over 3 right? 1 and 1 over 3 يعني 1.3 something right? Yes. 1.3 تقريبا. So 1.3 طبعا is between. So the ratio A and B if it's between 1 and 2 any value between 1 and 2 يعني 1 point something ف it's easy to graph now. It's what kind of Limassol equation we have? Dimpled. Right?
Yes.
Limassol dimpled. Dimple the curve. How to graph? Yes, I have to find
A plus B.
I have to find كل دي steps A plus B تريحك يعني في الجراف you have to do it.
Yes. Equal 7.
طلع كل الفيتشرز امامي واعرف اعمل جراف. A plus B يعني 3 plus 4 او 4 plus 3 the same gives what 7 يعني نروح 7 units to او 7 circles to the right of the pole 0 0 and A the value of A how many units or how many circles or how the graph is stretched على الواي axis اللي هو the opposite which is 4 circles. خلينا نكتبها 4 circles عشان تبقى عارف. And you have to move up 4 and the A minus B gives what?
4 minus 3 equal 1.
A4 minus the B which is 3 gives what?
1.
And let's graph it. Yes, I will try guys to bring the original graph or standard the graph. فين الجراف الأصلي؟ This one. I'm gonna copy it هنا. Yes. Sorry. Let's put it here. Sorry guys, معذبكم معايا. نروح على الجراف. Yes, and then let's graph it. Here is a pen. Let's choose this one. يلا. We will start from what 7 يعني أنت تشتغل على 7. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only circles. So we have to draw two more circles. So we are on the positive part of. So imagine that we have a circle here. If I have my iPad, I can draw perfect circles. I don't have that right now. So here is another circle. Imagine that it's a circle, guys. If I draw another circle here, أبوظ الدنيا.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take here another color. قلنا هنمشي 7 from the pole here. تمشي 7 يعني هتحط point هنا عند 7th circle, the 7th circle. And in the opposite axis على pi over 2, I'm gonna move 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And هنا easy بواضحة هنا 4 up and 4 down. Okay, thank you. طيب بالنسبة لل1 اللي هو المهم في الموضوع. ال1 can loop. Okay, and now it's dimpled. So it's what? It should take the shape of here, like this. Or for cosine will be like this. It's a circle عادي بس from here. You have what? جوه هنا 1. Okay, دخلت لجوه شوية 1. So فين احنا? Yes, we are here. So I have to move 1 here. Okay?
Yes.
And then connect to the points. So it's not a perfect what? Circle. Not perfect circle. Okay, I have to erase only this part. خدها معاه. طيب. We have to connect to the points يا شباب. ماشي عادي على circle and it's here like this. يعني في واحد كل حتة من الابل هنا. Okay, تعال نعمل لها graph on the Desmos graphing calculator. My equation is 4 plus 3 cosine theta, right? Yes, here.
Yes, 4 plus 3 cosine theta.
Okay. It's a cosine, right?
Yes, 4 plus 3 cosine
4
theta.
plus 3. I just changed what? Oh, the 1 is here. أنا كنت شاكك فيه. The 1 is up and outside. We have to move 1 here. So the 1 is here. يعني الناحية مش جوه. Yes, so we have to change it here. يلا. I have to erase it all. ولا erase only this part. طيب let's erase it all. البوينتس مظبوطين. البوينتس عادي عند ال7 عند بس ال1 not here. The 1 هي المفروض تكون هنا بس بره هنا حطها ال1. And then connect the points. We have to move like this. So it's not perfect circle. يعني شوف السيركل الجراف الأصلي الحقيقي الجراف الأكيوريت. Here is my graph. Yes, of what? What's the equation?
4 plus 3.
The equation is 4
dimple.
plus 3. Yeah, and he said that theta is between 0 and 2 pi. So طلع لي طبعا 4 minus 3 which is 1. Don't put here 1. تحط ال 1 ايه اللي هناك عند النيجاتيف 1 يعني. Okay? We can maximize it to see if it's 1 or not. Yes, at what, guys? At negative 1. It's at negative 1 here, this point. Okay? Any question?
Okay.
Any question, Shabab?
No, thank
Clear.
you.
Okay. Now let's start, guys, by the convex will be the same, but the value of A over B will be 2 or more. Okay, 2 or more. Like, for example, 8 plus 4 cosine theta, or 8 plus 4 sine theta. The value of A over B equals 2 or more. It will be convex. Let's start our lesson, guys, here. حسب الكتاب. Graphs of polar equations. Let's graph the polar equation R equals 4 cosine theta with theta in radians. Yes. Who can do it, guys? And which kind of equations we have? Rows, circle, line, limicons, curves, lemniscates, curves. Who can tell me? Yeah, guys? Huh? R equals
Yeah, Rose.
4 cosine theta. Rows?
Yes.
طيب, let's move back and check if it's rows or not. When I give you
لا مستر دي
yesterday
نورمال
this-
سيركل اظن
Yeah, 4
نورمال سيركل
sine
ناحيه
theta.
الاكس
Here is it. It's a circle يا معلم. It's a circle. طب امتى تكون روز مستر؟ When we have n theta.
And theta, yes.
When we have 3 theta.
n theta.
When we have
2,
4
3,
theta.
3,
9 theta. Like this, okay? Take care. Okay, طب how to graph the rows؟ نفتكر الرول على طول ونرجع تاني. To graph 4 sine theta, we said to make a table and so on, right? Or direct graph or quick graph. When A sine theta, it's up the y-axis, the x-axis. موجودة على الواي axis and above the x-axis in the positive part of the y-axis يعني أو pi over 2. وبنطلع فوق الديامتر كله is 4. Okay, so where is the graph? This one. Let's graph it here وخلاص اللي هي r equals 4 what? Cosine theta. 4 cosine theta. Here is the question, guys. بس عشان استغل الجراف الموجود هنا. What should you do, guys? أشوف الأول البوزيشن. Is it on the positive or negative part of the x-axis؟ ما الكوساين موجود على x-axis. So I have to start. Put here a point and move 4 units. Okay? Here is the diameter of the circle. The diameter always 4. A equals 4, which is the diameter of the circle. بعدين connect the points here. يعني pi over 6 and 4, pi over 4 and so on, okay? The circle not like this, sorry. Yes, you make a circle here, like this. and you have to move counterclockwise. Here is your circle, here is your quick graph. So when A cosine theta, here is the value of A. You have to move A units here. Okay, so it's 2 and 2. Here is the center. And the 0 and the 2 and 0. And you have to make it like this. هذا informal graph يعني سريع graph سريع and acceptable. Using the Desmos graphing calculator, my equation is R equals what? 4 بس cosine theta. Yes, it's here. Do you see my screen? And this is Desmos graphing calculator. How to graph 4? Yes, how to graph 4 cosine theta. ادانا الانسر direct. Yes, here's the answer. We did it. Any question? Check point number 1. Graph R equals 4 sine theta. خلاص بقينا professional. So I'm gonna ask now. Yes. Let's ask here, Omar.
Yes, can I solve, Mr.?
Yes, Faris, يلا. Only هنا how to do it. R.
Yes, R equal 4 sine theta. So it will be 4, because it's sine, it will be up.
Up here. So I'm gonna move up 1, 2, 3.
2, 3, 4, and the center is at 2. So we'll draw a circle. Yes, and the center is 2.
Draw this egg or this circle وخلاص. Okay.
Yes.
That's it. طب the end. طبعا to do it, guys, by using the symmetric graphing a polar equation using symmetry. As I said for you, we have 3 kinds of symmetry. We have to check the symmetry for polar equations بثلاث أنواع. 3 tests. The first one, symmetry with respect to the polar axis اللي هو ال x-axis. Number 2, symmetry with respect to the line theta equals pi over 2 or the y-axis. And number 3, symmetry with respect to the pole, which is the origin. Okay, type in case of the first test, symmetry with respect to the polar axis. For the polar axis, I'm gonna replace the theta with negative theta. And if an equivalent equation results, and if you substitute بنيجاتيف theta وأعطاك نفس ال equation or any equivalent form for this equation, the graph is symmetric with respect to the polar axis. Number 2, to check here or test the symmetry of the polar equation with respect to the theta equals pi over 2 or y-axis, we have to replace r with negative r. Theta, replace it by negative theta, and check here هيديك equivalent equation the same exactly ولا ممكن يكون حاجة equivalent برضه ما انتوا خدتوها في ال previous lesson من ال representations. Okay, to check the symmetry with respect to pole origin, we have to replace the r by negative r. If an equivalent equation results, the graph is symmetric with respect to the pole. Let's see here, guys, how to check the symmetry and then graph the polar equation r equals 1 minus cosine theta. I would like to say for you something, but I will stop the recording because it's 1/1, so my graph will be like this type. بس في الكتاب هو شغال على symmetry test. Yes, I'm gonna check the symmetry of this equation first for polar axis, يعني ال x-axis, and the line theta equals pi over 2, which is the y-axis, and for the pole, which is the point 0, 0. بيسميها في الpolar pole. Okay, and then he will graph using the table below. So first, I'm gonna find what? Replacing, to check here the polar axis, I'm gonna replace every theta by negative theta. So r equals 1 minus cosine the angle, which is negative what? Theta. معايا شباب? So 1 minus cosine negative an angle. You studied it before in first term that cosine is an even function. Gives it the same value.
Cosine theta.
Cosine theta, again, cosine is even, with secant even, and the other trig functions are odd.
Yes.
So gives it the same or what? Equivalent or not?
Yes.
Equivalent. Because it's equivalent, so it may have symmetry with respect to the polar axis. So I have a headache. So it has what?
No.
So we write here it's symmetric وخلاص. We write symmetry. Thank you. The next test to check that symmetry of this
Cross.
equation with respect to the angle theta equals pi over 2 أو بنسميها الواي axis. Who can do it? Yes. I said to replace, نرجع تاني عادي, replace the r by negative r and replace the theta with negative theta.
Theta.
يلا. هنا في equation. So it's gonna be negative
Negative
r
r 1 minus cosine negative theta.
cosine negative theta. طيب جميل.
It will be negative r equal 1 minus cosine theta.
Yes. And then multiply all equation by negative 1 gives r equals
r
negative 1
negative 1 plus.
plus cosine theta. Who can tell me is it the same or not? This equation is equivalent or not? Equivalent? R becomes negative 1. So this one, يعني if we graph negative 1 plus cosine theta, gonna give us the same graph as 1 minus cosine theta?
No.
No. Who can help us guys to do this quickly without making any steps? Yeah, the Desmos graphing calculator, my friend. Okay, so what's the equation? It's 1 minus cosine theta, like this.
No.
يعني
Yes.
Mr. هذا هو الجراف. Do you see my screen? Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
1
see.
minus cosine theta, it's dimpled, right?
1 minus cosine, yeah.
Dimpled, limison curves dimpled shape. But if we put it as negative 1,
Plus cosine.
بدل النيجاتيف plus here. So is it the same? They are symmetric. أنا بتكلم على symmetry. So again, here is minus and here is plus, right? Gives like this. And if it's minus 1 and then plus cosine, I think that both can fit. يعني إيه symmetry guys?
Yes.
يعني like this. يعني that both can fit into each other, right?
Yes, so yeah, so it's
So here is
equivalent.
minus and here is plus in this direction. If it's minus and here it's what? It's a plus, comes in the other direction. So both of them can fit or not?
Yes, can.
Yes, so it's symmetric about the axis y equals pi over 2. Sorry, theta equals pi over 2. Okay? With me, guys? So we write it.
Yes, Mr. Symmetric, equivalent, yes.
Yeah, but I would like you guys to do the other one, اللي هو the pole, which is 0, 0. Yeah, in the previous slide we said it's but we have to write here it's may or may not. يعني هو دايما نكتبها may or may not symmetric about the line theta equals pi over 2. For the pole, replace r by negative r. If an equivalent equation results, the graph is symmetric with respect to the pole. So, I'm gonna replace يا شباب ال r بنيجاتيف r بس سيب الثيتا the same يعني
Negative 1 minus cosine theta.
طبعا dividing by negative 1 or multiply by negative 1
R.
gives
Negative 1 plus cosine theta, so yes, it's equivalent.
equivalent.
Yeah.
Negative 1, so it's maybe equivalent يعني maybe
Yeah.
it's symmetric about the هذا. Okay, let me go to your. Do you have this page, guys? I would like to check of something here. One of them is not. Which page you have?
1 minute.
I would like you to check the answer here. 1 more minute only. The equation is r equals, yes, 1 minus cosine theta. Who can graph it quickly by the way we said before? Because it's limison. Okay, and it's what? Dimpled. So what's the value of A is 1, the value of B is 1, so the ratio of A over B is 1 over 1, which is 1. A plus B and A minus B. 1 and 1, which is 2. 1 minus 1 is what? 0. So I have to move 2 units because it's a cosine and it's a negative, so we have to
2
move
units.
2 here.
Negative 2 and 0. And the A is 1.
The A is 1.
Negative 1 and 1 on the y-axis.
Yes, so it's 1 here and 1 here, right? Okay, on the
Yes.
y-axis and like this, and then connect the points.
No, y-axis, not x-axis, Mr.
مش it's cosine. We move the 2 units, two circles here, and one
Yes.
up and one down.
Yeah, okay.
A minus B. طيب.
Okay.
That we have
Zero.
to move here, right?
1 1.
هو عملها هنا لا عملها inside one inside. One inside, sorry. One inside. So again, sorry, so we have to put 2 كده وبعدين one up and one down here. And this one here. Okay, and connect the points. Okay? It will be like this. بس طبعا هي graphed طبعا accurately on the Desmos graphing calculator. Here is it. But it's when it's 1 minus cosine theta and the 0. We have to put in the 0. Yes. Okay. So we moved to the left here, so it's not correct. We have to move what? 2 units. عادي دي صح. And the -2, and then
Yes.
and 0, right? And then
And 1 and negative.
like this.
Yeah.
So we have to move up here 1 unit. يجي هنا. You have to move like this 1, and like this 1, and you have to connect to this point. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys checkpoint number 3 and checkpoint number 4 as a homework. Checkpoint number 3 and checkpoint number 4 as a homework.